Hey everyone, if you're looking to prove you can build and run AI infrastructure at the absolute highest level, well, you've come to the right place. Today, we are going to break down the NVIDIA NCP-AI certification. This is the credential, the one that really separates the pros from the amateurs when it comes to massive, large-scale AI. Just think about that for a second, an AI factory. What this certification does is send a crystal clear signal to the entire industry that you have the real hands-on skills to build a high-performance AI factory from scratch. The main thing to remember here is this. This isn't about book smarts or theory. Nope, it's all about doing.
So here's what we've got on top for today. We're going to cover four main things. First, what this credential actually is. Then we'll decode the exam blueprint itself. After that, I'm going to walk you through a super practical 6-week training plan. And finally, we'll look at the absolute smartest way to get yourself prepared. Sound good? All right, let's jump right in. First up, what in the world is the NCP-AI? And more importantly, who should be gunning for it? Okay, so the official title is a bit of a mouthful, right? NVIDIA Certified Professional for AI Infrastructure. But what it really means, what it validates, are those critical hands-on skills. We're talking about bringing up GPU servers, deploying the control plane, and making absolutely sure everything is performing like a well-oiled machine. It's truly an end-to-end credential. So who's the target audience here? Well, it's really designed for the engineers who are in the trenches every day. Data center and infrastructure engineers, MLOps folks, systems admins, solutions architects, that crowd. And get this, NVIDIA recommends you have about 2 to 3 years of actual real-world data center experience. That right there tells you this isn't a beginner's test. It's all about practical, applied knowledge. Okay, moving on to part 2, decoding the exam blueprint. I want you to think of this section as your map to passing this thing. We're going to break down the format, the key domains, basically all the nitty-gritty details you absolutely need to know. So here are the logistics in a nutshell. It's all done online and it's remotely proctored. You're looking at around 70 to 75 questions and you've got 120 minutes, 2 hours to get them done. It's a straightforward pass or fail, and the best part, you get that shiny digital badge through Credly super fast, usually within about 24 hours. Let's talk cost. In the US, the exam fee is going to run you about $400. Now, keep in mind, this can change a little depending on where you are in the world and the currency, so definitely do a quick double check on your local NVIDIA certification page before you hit that register button. And once you've passed, and you will, your certification is good for 2 full years. And that's super important, right? Because it makes sure your skills stay current and recognized in a field that is just moving at light speed. It's really a commitment to staying on that cutting edge. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Take a look at the breakdown of the exam domains. You can see, immediately where you need to focus your study time. A massive chunk of the exam, we're talking 2/3 of it, is all about just 2 areas: cluster test and verification and system and server bring up. So yeah, let's zoom in on those. So the biggest piece of the pie, at 33%, is all about proving the cluster actually works like it's supposed to. This means you got to know how to run performance benchmarks, think HPL and NCCL, validate that high-speed fabric, and run some serious burn-in tests. This is where you prove that your AI factory is rock solid and totally ready for production. And right behind that, you've got system and server bring up. This covers all that foundational day zero stuff, configuring the BMC, updating firmware, making sure the power, the cooling, the cabling, everything is absolutely perfect. Trust me, getting this part right will save you from a world of hurt later on. Okay, so knowing what's on the test is one thing, but how do you actually prepare for it? Well, in this next section, we're going to lay out a super practical 6-week plan to get you certified. And here it is. As you can see, we've broken the whole journey down into these manageable weekly chunks. You start with the basics, the foundations. Then you move step by step through hands-on practice for all the big topics. And you finish it all off with a full-on dress rehearsal to make sure you're feeling confident. It's just a really logical, structured way to get there. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great, but how am I supposed to practice this stuff? I don't exactly have a multi-million-dollar cluster sitting in my garage. And that's a fair question. The key, my friend, is NVIDIA Launchpad. It gives you free, scheduled access to real NVIDIA hardware for hands-on labs. This is not just a nice-to-have. It's an absolutely essential part of your prep. So, at this point, you've got the exam blueprint and a solid study plan. But for our last section, let's talk about making that study time as efficient and effective as it can possibly be. we're going to look at a few ways to really accelerate your learning.
And that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? With a test this complex, this hands-on, how do you make every single hour of studying count? How do you really make sure you're ready when exam day rolls around? Well, the answer is all about studying smarter, not just harder. And a perfect example of this is a tool called FlashGenius. It's this all-in-one AI-powered prep platform that's literally built for these kinds of high-stakes certs. So how does it actually help you study smarter? Well, for starters, it has an AI-guided learning path, so you know you're always focused on what matters most. You get super realistic exam simulations so you can get used to the pressure. But the really powerful part, the game changer, is this smart review feature. It doesn't just tell you you're wrong, it uses AI to explain why you're wrong so you don't make that same mistake again. On top of that, you get to learn from the common pitfalls that thousands of other learners have fallen into. And look, when you put it side by side with some of the other tools out there, the difference is just night and day. Most platforms, they just stop at basic practice tests. But having an intelligent, adaptive experience, things like an AI-guided path, that smart review, and the common mistakes database, that's what really sets a modern tool apart. And that's not all. The platform also gives you a full toolkit to round out your studies. We're talking interactive flashcards, the ability to drill down on specific exam domains, and even some gamification to keep things interesting. It even has built-in productivity timers, like for the Pomodoro technique. The whole idea is to have everything you could possibly need all in one spot. At the end of the day, the goal is simple. Study smarter, not harder. Give yourself the absolute best shot at passing this thing on your very first try. You can check out all the NVIDIA prep tools for yourself over at flashgenius.net. So let me just leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to become that indispensable engineer? You know, the one who can confidently walk up to a brand new rack of systems and turn it into a powerful, reliable, high-performance AI factory? Because this certification, this is how you prove it.